Yo, what is up, everyone? Back here with another video. We're here for a video talking about the team we used to get rank 1 on rank battles, not once, not twice, but 3 times. It's pretty hype. I mean, the only reason why I haven't been streaming more attempts, again, not even attempts, but just like getting number 1 back is just like, I've just been trying to enjoy the week. But today is my birthday, so this is actually coming out on my birthday. So, bit of it's a fun time, but it's like a bit of a retrospective time, I mean, I thought about my birthday like a year ago, right? And I was thinking about like where I was with content, everything, where stuff felt. And like, sorry, if I'll probably like timestamp this or whatever. I might not, I don't know. Just because I'm feeling a bit reflective, I don't know. I like it's so interesting to me because I feel like I'm such a different place than I was a year ago, and both in like a good way and a bad way. I think definitely with YouTube, I've been a lot more motivated. I've been investing a lot more into it, which I'm very happy about. And like, I guess what I'm trying to say is like, thank you to everyone who supports these videos. I know it just seems like, some dude who's like passionate about Pokemon, like making some videos, which yes, that is what I am. But like, it means a lot. Like every view, every comment, like everything. Like obviously I know people are like, oh, you shouldn't value numbers that much, but like no, it's cool, like even the fact that there are like 1,000 people that'll watch a YouTube video, um it's really cool, and it's a really humbling experience to recognize that there are a lot of people who watch you and support you and kind of are rooting for you. So it's just a cool experience, and I have sometimes a lot of like moments where like people will be like, oh, I watch your channel, like you really inspired me like this. And like, to those people who watch these videos, I mean, I genuinely have to say thank you, because I wouldn't be where I am like without your guys' support. It's crazy, it really is crazy, that I'm able to do this, for pretty much what I do, I was thinking I was gonna do a retake until I could say things in the right way, but I think I'm gonna leave this first one. Um, it I guess it's more true to how I feel. But thank you guys again for support. I'm not gonna go on any longer. If you guys would like support, obviously beyond these videos, please make sure to check out the Patreon, check out coaching. But yeah, I mean, thank you guys for the support. But today's video is going to be based around the team I used to get rank 1, and a different approach that I want to take with this team is kind of discussing about how I got to that rank 1, kind of looking through some of the matchups that I ended up playing, and kind of discussing the thought process. This is going to be more so something that can go along with like the Twitch VOD, because obviously, like, first off, there is like some copyrighted stuff on like the Twitch channel, so I can't really like do that on YouTube, but I will like kind of go through each game, or like a couple of the games I felt were like more important, even the last few games, right? Have the VOD muted and just maybe like look at like some key things about them that I think are important, right? Also, too, I'm just going to take a look at the team, kind of talk about how the team is played. I already have a video on this specific team with like the rental and everything. You can check that out. I'll have it in the description as well. But yeah, this video is going to be more so just talking about the run itself, So over here, right? Let's see. We're gonna look over here, right? So pretty much the main matchups I ended up playing versus, and I'm gonna make sure I pause at the right moment. Okay, so the final matchup I ended up playing for rank 1, which really surprised me, was actually Kyogre, Grimmsnarl, Shedinja, Zacian, Regieleki, and Urshifu, right? And what was really interesting about this matchup to me was the fact that like, there was a Shedinja on the team, so I had to kind of respect it in that instance, right? But obviously it ended up kind of being tricky, because then I kind of had to bring something that dealt with Shedinja but also could deal with the other partners. So it kind of forced me to bring something like Landorus, Gastro, right? Gastro to help with the Ogre, Grimmsnarl, and then Zacian. Zacian obviously needing to be able to kind of perform versus the other partners. It was a bit tricky, right? Like, a matchup like this is like very weird. On ladder, typically you'll find a lot of matchups like this where it's like some weird combination that you'll typically struggle with. But yeah, we'll start more so from the beginning. I just want to highlight this specific matchup before we went further back. So we're going to go into the more interesting game. So if you guys don't know, I went from Pokeball 5 all the way to number 1, right? So pretty much like I ended up not playing too many unique things, or I played a lot of unique things, I should say, this run particularly. Now, this was the first day I got number one, right? That's the only reason why I'm just showing you this particular matchup and not like the other ones, because this was literally the only one that I felt was actually pretty relevant. Now, we're going to go over to the second time that I got number one, I believe. Let me double check this. Sorry, the second time they got number one, right? This was day two. The main matchups I ended up playing, I played a lot of Seismitoad this day, right? So Seismitoad was like the number one trend that I ended up seeing a lot. And pretty much was like something. By the way, I have a towel on my head because I just got out of the shower. If you guys don't know, that's kind of like a tradition on stream. But you'll see, like, literally game one was a Seismitoad game, right? And like in this particular run, I had a lot of matchups where I would play versus Seismitoad. Hopefully, videos like these. By the way, let me know if you enjoy this stuff, recapping like the number ones, because I feel like there is a lot of helpful like meta information from, like, you know, obviously the games and everything. So it's kind of cool to like look back on, right? We're gonna go back here so I can see the actual team. And yeah, obviously this is all my Twitch as well. So if you want to watch these VODs in full and not, you know, not have it so that I'm just talking over it, you know, you can definitely like check that stuff out. So for this matchup in particular, I was playing versus a Lugia. Now this team isn't really great. I just ended up losing to it because I just didn't play well. It was just a moment where I just played very poorly, right? Usually the first couple games when I'm on stream, like, I kind of need to like get into the groove and like play it. So yeah, I ended up losing the set. Not gonna talk about too much. There are just some obvious plays I should have made. I brought double ground and didn't swap in my ground type on Coco because I thought I could be fancy and they wouldn't play so well. And then it just ended up backfiring, right? I ended up losing the end game to Lugia. The next matchup I ended up playing versus was the Zacian Yveltal mirror. Now, this version did have Grimmsnarl, Ensign, Venusaur. So this version I wasn't really worried about, to be honest, because I feel like I have the advantage with my own Landorus. Landorus able to exert pressure against a lot of these Pokemon. The nice thing is, too, with like these specific options, I also have a Rotom Heat, which is like incredibly annoying for their team, because you have like enough options for the Zacian, you have enough for the Venusaur, you have enough for the Regieleki. It's just really crazy. Like how many options you have, and like, you know, you have your own Zacian as well, which can like put on a bunch of pressure. So it was just overall like a pretty simple game. Wasn't too much trouble. So I'm gonna skip over the next few only because what I was kind of doing is I was just kind of like bouncing back and forth, and you'll like see this if you watch the VOD. But I kept playing like a variety of teams, mostly either popular teams that have won games or pretty much just like Seismitoad, Zacian Ogre stuff. So like if we keep going here, you'll see literally there is probably a Seismitoad pop up as we get the game. So you'll see here, right, the same guy that we ended up playing versus, Seismitoad again. And it was a really interesting trend, honestly. I wasn't expecting to see as much Seismitoad as I did. So it's really interesting to see. And then we had a unique one where we ended up playing versus Weezing and Regigigas. I ended up throwing versus this one. I kind of did not play optimally into this and ended up costing me, right? My losses during this run, honestly, were for the most part like me not playing very optimally. And some of my games were ending really quickly. Like if I were just outplaying my opponent the first couple turns, like sometimes they would just forfeit. And that happened a lot in these next few games, right? Then it was kind of like a back and forth. I'd come close, I'd get like number 2, and then I'd end up losing, right? So like you'll see the stream goes like for a longer time. Like I ended up losing this, I think, or like winning, and then I like didn't get the placement, right? And then I would end up losing like the follow-up match. So basically, if you guys don't know, the reason why it was so difficult is there was such high elo for the number 1 spot. I had to win like 4 times when I got to number 2, right? And if I lost it all, it would just kind of reset me, so I'd have to do it again. So it's like insane, right? Like the number 1 race, I'm sure, like I haven't looked, but it's probably like really crazy high, you know? But yeah, like I just ended up kind of bouncing back and forth. You know, we played like a couple unique teams as we went. A lot of them being swordfish, but like obviously there were some variations. You see it here where like back at number 4. It just shows you like the grind can really be difficult sometimes, because I feel like you can a lot of the time like just have to kind of like keep yourself like in check, be like, yeah, dude, I know I've been playing for like so long, you know, but I'm like a couple away, like I can keep winning, you know. It's like very achievable. It's definitely like a mentality thing, I felt like. This matchup too was really interesting. I think I ended up beating this. I would have been very sad if I lost to this, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, no, like, so, like I ended up playing some weird stuff too, and it just ended up making it like super weird. to get that rank 1, right? And like you can kind of tell like it gets difficult when you play versus random things because you don't really know what they're gonna do, right? And like yeah, the last match, which was or this match in particular, I want to highlight because it was very frustrating. It could just show you how like annoying the game can be sometimes, especially when you're going for rank 1. So this person's strategy, let me go a little bit further back so you can see the team. Anyways, so this person that I played, their strategy was literally lead Lapras and Cresselia and click Thunderwave and like max resonance like every single turn. It was so frustrating to deal with. And I almost lost because of paralysis and like ally switch, and I managed to like claw out the win. This was like the match I was most proud of, not because it was necessarily like super clean, but literally just because I got through all that like stuff to win, right? Then we started playing like a bit more standard stuff as we went. Obviously it kind of goes back and forth. This one was a Solgaleo team. Pretty much a similar build to what we had, just like the difference being obviously there's a Solgaleo involved, double intimidate, some unique stuff like that. I was able to beat that pretty handily if I remember correctly. I might be wrong. I also did get like there were a couple of games where like if I had just played a little bit better, I definitely would have won. But this game, I remember specifically, I thought I was about to lose, and I ended up winning on like a clutch Yveltal end game. So this is one of the games I definitely recommend checking out. Then we'll jump over to the final game because that one was like the most exciting, I guess. Let me see if I can find that one. It was a very long game as well. I kind of forgot how long it was. So our final game, I mean, as we mentioned, everyone is using Seismitoad. Of course, it was versus a Seismitoad. Now, Seismitoad is a very, very annoying Pokemon for this team because of Power Whip, because of, Max Geyser, a bunch of stuff. And this ended up being our win in a matchup. And, like, it was definitely, like, fun. It felt, like, super cool to, like, have to beat this team to get, like, win. Because, like, what's the point of getting rank 1 if it's not, like, difficult, right? And, we ended up being able to beat this pretty comfortably. I just leveraged my Landorus. The Seismitoad matchup is definitely a lot more like prediction heavy, or like at least knowing how to play the team around your opponent's offensive modes. But we ended up getting the number 1 after, which was super good. And then finally for our day, 3 of getting number 1. We got number 1 fairly early, and I kept playing. I'm pretty sure. Let me see if I can find this. Yeah, see, I got number 1 here, and then, obviously as a streamer, you're not going to stop streaming once you get number 1. That's not fun, Yeah, literally, like, I mean, I just grinded and grinded. I wanted to get the number 1 back by the end of the session, but I had to go at the end. So I ended up not being able to do that. But yeah, we literally had number 1, and then we lost it. In terms of like notable matchups, there weren't too many. We had a lot of bad RNG today, so on that day. So I'm not really gonna probably highlight any matches too much because like it's not really too much to talk about. In terms of the team itself, let me actually see if I can find the actual team. I guess it's in personal teams maybe. Man, I just like I need to organize my teams better. There we go, gamer team. Okay, yeah. So here, obviously, you'll have this team on the video that we watched, right? But pretty much like like nothing changed really on the team. It's just been a pretty solid team overall. In terms of the strong options that found myself using a lot, it was literally the Landorus. I think the Landorus was like the number 1 thing I had to use. To really capitalize on this team. And like when I was able to use Landers properly, majority of the time I was winning the game. Sometimes I wouldn't bring Landers, and in that case, typically I was maxing the Yveltal or maxing the Gastrodon, right? So just keeping those win cons in mind is like super good. I found myself maxing these two the most, with the Yveltal being the complementary 3rd max. Once in a while maxing Rotom Heat. But I will say this team is strong, definitely in best of 3. And ladder too, I mean, I felt like the reason I was winning was not because it was necessarily strong for best of 1, but just because I was kind of player diffing it. So like basically what I mean is I was just outplaying my opponents, I'm not too sure about this team for ladder. I feel like it's fine, like obviously you have enough consistent options to kind of adjust. So I like it, I like using it because I feel confident that I can outplay my opponents regardless of like what surprise they have on their team. But obviously that's just something to keep in mind. It's definitely not a best of 1 team. It's more oriented around like that best of 3 aspect, but it has that best of 1 mode that you can utilize because if you know the team well enough, you can play it well. But yeah, no, super strong. I mean, to be fair, I guess I ended up cutting a best of 1 tournament with it, but it was open team sheet, so I had like the information to supplement the kind of randomness aspect of like, you know, not being able to know the opponent's sets. But I mean, I got number one with it 3 times, so I guess it's not too bad, right? But like, I digress. You know, it's basically just a situation of being able to understand your team and know how to play it, and it'll give you a big advantage. But yeah, guys, I mean, that's pretty much it. You know, I just wanted to go over the team, you know, just kind of talk about some matchups I thought were interesting, kind of talk about the run. If you guys are interested in watching the actual VODs, those all have the, you know, games up there and everything, so you guys can check that out. So, once again, guys, thank you for all the support. I'll be doing a birthday stream today at some point. I might actually be live like while you guys are, you know, watching this video. So make sure to check that out. But yeah, once again, guys, thank you for all the support. Incredibly appreciate it. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.